Hello, everyone. It is your favorite podcast host and your favorite co-host, Owen.
Hello.
Oh, it has been a while. Oh
It
my
has.
gosh, it has been a while. Wow, feels kind of weird. Obviously, Mr. Rowan recorded a video explaining what's happening.
Mm.
I am back. Obviously, we are back, and today is we've missed a lot. Firstly, we've missed a lot. Obviously, it's we you most likely want us to upload regularly. Sometimes it is hard for us, but we will try and be better. We will try and be better. Today's a kind of serious episode that today Mr. Ron will be leading. Obviously, we want to make a longer podcast down the lines, but yeah, I feel like we had to talk about this. Mr. Rowan feels like we had to talk about this, and we hope you enjoy our insight of this topic. And if you want us to talk more about these kind of things, we actually do feel obligated to talk about this, but down the road, we would want your feedback on what you'd want us to talk about. But
Yeah,
anyways,
definitely.
enough of me blabbering a lot, even though we have been away 3 months. Mr. Ron, please take it away for us.
Okay, so obviously, as Jonathan was saying, we've been away for a few months now, and we're not going to cover everything, but I feel like we should definitely talk about this subject that's come up because I think it affects all of us in a sense, and I think it's definitely a very important matter. So, if you probably know by now, but we're gonna talk about the Ukraine war. Now, it's it's a very bad thing that's going on right now because it's hard to justify, and obviously what Putin is doing is very horrible and bad, causing thousands and millions of deaths in Ukraine and innocent people. But yeah, we're just going to talk about the war and what's happening and just yeah our thoughts. So first of all, the Ukraine war. I think it started in February 24th, 2022, and it was mostly unexpected, but we could see that a war was going to start. It's been like that for a couple of years now,
Yeah,
from when Ukraine and Russia started conflict in 2011, I think it was, and it's just been building up, and now it's kind of escalated where they've just gotten to war with them. So yeah, so with the war, there've been more than 3.7 million people and refugees fleeing Ukraine since the starting date, and there's been more than £1 billion raised for Ukraine, which is very very good. Obviously, Ukraine is fighting with themselves. They've not asked for any step in of other countries to fight for them, except from weapons and contributions of money and whatever. But sadly, 2,421 number of civilians casualties since the start of the war. So yeah, that's basically the info on the war. What's happened so far? The war's still going on. It does seem like they're trying to calm it down, and they are talking and whatever, and then they're trying to stop the war, but it still continues. Um, but yeah, it's very sad to see. So, what do you think, Jonathan?
I'm most likely gonna say this not once, but it is a hard thing to digest,
Definitely.
honestly. Obviously, like you said, it has been leading up to this for a couple of years. It was bound to happen. But in a sense, you don't want these kind of things to happen to other countries because their families living there, there are people trying to live their lives, make a living, and now you don't know what's going to happen because You don't know if you wake up tomorrow, if you're bombed or not bombed. So I feel like it's hard to digest
Mm,
in the sense of also kids being recruited to violence at such a young age, having to try to protect their country from someone who just wants to remove this country off the map. And no one wants this to happen. War is not a good thing, and no one is happy about what the President Putin is doing. Obviously, everyone will have their different interpretations of this war, but as me and you are united on this one, it's not good what Russia are doing. You'd most likely want them to change what they're doing because this is going to devastate a lot of people and a lot of families, and it just needs to stop.
yeah,
And I hope we can cover why he's doing this and why his mindset is like this on doing this to Ukraine. And
definitely.
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, as you said, so it's very hard on info how the war started.
yeah,
There's different sources and different factors of how it started, but mainly it's because after the disbandment of the USSR, parts of Russia, such as Ukraine, um, after the USSR fell, basically became and voted for independence. Now, Russia was okay and wasn't very too happy about this. But then what happened was that NATO has obviously invited them to join NATO, which also Russia does not like at all because they feel like Ukraine should be a should be a USSR part of like USSR like previous of the country.
yeah.
So they felt that NATO was a threat, so they started conflict with them. Now I think some sources does suggest that um, with the disbandment of the USSR, they did disband their own military force, which was like same as NATO, where if you attacked one country, all the other countries would attack them. So like a
Yeah,
big formation, so the big, and they would share weapons, money, whatever. So Russia
yeah,
had one of these. I don't know what the name of it is, but basically Russia basically disbanded, said we would give up this thing because of the NATO, and then NATO was like, okay, fine, and they were hoping that NATO would disband, but they didn't. So yeah, and then they've come into Ukraine, which is fine, but NATO sees, sorry, I mean Russia sees it as a threat, so they've started this war. So yeah, that's a
I
very complicated but brief version of what how it started. Yeah,
yeah, and obviously by at this point in everything, you'd think NATO would come up with a solution
yeah,
in how to solve this kind of situation that we're going through. But obviously, it's hard for them to think if we support this country, Russia will try and get other countries to support them, and they'll try to fend themselves off and try and fight. But I don't think um I don't think in this situation we need other countries joining to help and fight other countries because it would just result in a global upset, and it would just mess up everything.
yeah,
So I feel like it's a very delicate matter for them, and that's why I feel like they have not decided on anything. A few minutes ago, I saw the U.S. president is talking about something related to this. I feel like you'd want a country like America to be more involved and to kind of help or do something because obviously America wants to be one of those big countries that wants to be ahead of everything and
mm,
wants to help or do anything in their favor to help, but obviously they're quite slow in this kind of thing. And yeah, I saw something interesting.
Right.
Um, Boris Johnson. I'll address this after, but I'm gonna tell you what it is before I tell you about Mr. Johnson's response.
Okay.
Apparently, in Russia, have put in a submission to host a kind of sports events, maybe a World Cup or something like that in 2028. And my thoughts of it are it's quite ridiculous how your timing is for certain kinds of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where your country is kind of hurting another country, kind of making it kind of devastated, making it sad, hurting a lot of people, and you're here submitting things to play in a sports tournament, which you most likely might be removed from because a lot of Russian teams have been excluded from a lot of sports events, and it's valid why because this is happening. So it's kind of interesting how you think the world won't react when you make such a move like this.
Mm.
It's horrible. I think it's horrible that you could even try to make a request of this, knowing what's happening and what you're doing to
Yeah.
another country.
Yeah.
And Mr. Johnson's response was the same as mine. It's like it's quite ridiculous because of the different circumstances that are happening right now, and he thinks they shouldn't even be involved in anything. I shouldn't. I don't think they shouldn't. I don't think they should be involved in anything as well, because it's just it won't solve anything. You're trying to do something else while your country's fighting Ukraine. Like you
Yeah.
get what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I think
So,
it's
so
as I was saying, yeah, it's. I think it's quite good that we've kind of not. It's kind of good that we've tried to stop the war in Russia, and we've helped people in Ukraine by as they evacuate, we give them homes here, and people are giving them homes and places to stay, which is very, very good and respectable, and saves a lot of people's lives. But obviously, we've crippled their economy and made it so they can't trade and whatever with Russia. So eventually that will maybe stop them. But yeah.
yeah, I feel like that was a good thing stopping their finances.
Mm,
Um, Obviously there are a lot of factors in that case to people they think are involved with President Putin. And in that kind of context, I feel like the world did a good part on that.
yeah.
And I feel like if you give them resources, they will bring anything they can to destroy Ukraine, which is not what we want. We want Ukraine to stay because this country did nothing.
That's true.
It's like it's like Wales attacking the UK. It doesn't make sense. You haven't done anything bad. It's just maybe your own personal vendetta against something that happened how many years ago, but you think you still have the right to hurt innocent people
Yeah.
and decouple a lot of people, which isn't right.
Yeah. The crazy thing is that Putin wasn't around during the USSR, the fall of the USSR, but he still has intentions of getting Ukraine back, which is like a crazy idea because why would you even maybe he is obviously you might I'm not sure if he's communist or not, but maybe he just feels like it was a part of Russia and it should be, but it's a bad thing that to happen. It's a bad thing to happen.
And I feel like he'll do anything means possible to get Ukraine to become Russia again,
Yeah,
which isn't the best mindset to have because he's willing to hurt thousands of people,
yeah,
send his own country to war
yeah,
just to do this, to get a country to get put back together. So it's this whole topic is just it's hard. It's hard. Um, you can't you don't necessarily know how to describe it. You don't know how people's different perspectives of it is. And um, our job, me and you as podcast hosts and co-hosts, are to just figure out what we can do to help the situation. Obviously, you talked about how there are a lot of donations and
Definitely.
how over 1 billion, right?
Yeah, yeah. Over than 1 billion to Ukraine from different places. Um, yeah,
And shows you how much we care and how much we don't want anything bad to happen.
yeah,
So obviously, I am a faithful person, and in the balance of this, as someone who only wants peace, obviously Ron wants peace as well. But for me, uh, you just take it to God, to ask God to help this country, ask God to protect the families in Ukraine, and to just give them the strength that we have to go to them, because no one wants this situation. No one wants to live like this.
mm,
This is not an ideal lifestyle. It's not. And I hope God will help these guys come to their senses, especially the president, and may this stop, and let's not go on the brink of starting another world war that will hurt everyone economically and physically, because it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it.
yeah.
War is never the way to solve it.
That's true. But yeah,
And
yeah.
go ahead.
Oh no, you carry on.
No,
You
go
say
ahead.
something. Okay, fine. Right. So obviously, I'm just gonna say something onto the war now. That because of the war, we've ignored a lot of the news. Like we barely hear anything about COVID. It seems to have disappeared thanks to the vaccine.
Yeah,
Obviously, people are still getting it,
yeah,
but it's less. It's a less of an impact due to the vaccines.
yeah,
So that's obviously a good thing. But I think some new variants, yeah, not a lot of new variants coming out actually. So that it looks like pretty good. But
I
one,
feel
yeah, Karen, sorry.
yeah, I feel like I don't want to be over optimistic, but I feel like we might actually beat this virus. I know
Yeah,
obviously we've not talked about it for a while. Obviously the case numbers of stuff have decreased, maybe some have increased, but I feel like we can actually this virus might go, which is
yeah,
actually cool.
yeah. I think that
And
the sorry.
sorry, go ahead.
Right, I think that the virus is not going to go completely. It's going to be like a cold.
Yeah,
It's just like a
yeah,
normal cold you get every winter. But I think it's coming to that stage where it's not really a worry, but sometimes it might disrupt things,
yeah,
small little things. But that's just how it is. But another thing in the news that we that's interesting in the UK is because of the war in Ukraine. Um, the Everyone's not focused on. Obviously, it's a very important matter, but people are
yeah,
not acknowledging the thing that happened at number 10, where they had a party, and to do with Boris Johnson, because he was very close
yeah.
to being
Remove from
sacked. Yeah, removed from Parliament, and they had him in a corner. They literally had all the factors. He couldn't say anything else. They proved it. But as soon as the war happened, people obviously took all attention on that, obviously, because it's a horrible thing to happen. But we still
yeah.
need to think of these other things. But obviously, the war is very important.
And regarding to that, I talked about it with my dad, and it's interesting how one weekend the prime minister, after telling us to all stay indoors, goes to a party,
Mm,
dances, has so much fun, while people in a pandemic are like trying to to keep calm. Like you don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. You don't know the certainty of how everything will be. But he was just having fun. Obviously, he said he was pinned to a corner. It was most likely going to happen, but in the nick of time, this Russia situation springs up on us,
Yeah.
and it kind of dials down how he was going to get sacked out of office. He's getting cornered every weekend. I think he should have resigned. Obviously, I don't support what he did. That is just, it's just dumb. It's just silly. And someone who literally talked to us about staying indoors and keeping safe, going to a party with some of his mates. It doesn't seem ideal as a prime minister. And obviously, I think after this whole situation happens, I hope they corner him again because obviously it was not the best decision. But Mr. Johnson, you survived this one, and let's hope the next one not to be so easy for you. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
lost we lost someone tragically today that Mr. Ron is gonna talk about. Um, you could say he was one of the best drummer men in the world, and please, Ron, take it away.
So sadly today on, I think actually it was yesterday, I think on the 25th, we have sadly lost Taylor Hawkins from the Foo Fighters, the drummer who died at the age of 50. Um, it's it's unfortunate to happen, but a lot of people are remembering him because he's obviously an idol in rock, and obviously he's probably a very he's probably one of the best drummers.
Yeah,
There's a lot of he's been highly regarded, and yeah.
yeah. Um, may his soul rest in peace.
Mm. Obviously pray to his family, and yeah.
You don't really come across people like that often who make such an impact on our society. And with his passion for rock, his passion to just be the best, he got places. Obviously, it's tragic to die at such a young age at 50. Obviously, it's we're sending out regards to his family. Ron was a big fan. He told me about them, and he was pretty amazing. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But regarding everything else, we want to tread lightly on these kind of situations. We always want to address them and keep our minds straight because these are things that affect the world and might be affecting your friends, your loved ones. And if it was happening to you, you'd want all the support from everyone.
Definitely.
And we just we just want you to give your hearts to these people and to just have a moment yourself and give them a second of your time. And yeah, because we felt like we had to address this today. Obviously, more podcasts, more episodes are gonna come. There'll be lighter themes, not such a theme like this, but we felt like we had to talk about this. And we just want to thank everyone who listens to us and who feels inspired by our podcast because it means a lot to us.
Mm.
I started this alone, honestly. I started this podcasting alone and I got one of my best friends to join me and it's just amazing. Obviously, I had my complications the last 3 months. That's why Ron uploaded that video. But we thank you for giving us time, giving us respect, and we don't take this for granted. And please have a brilliant weekend wherever recording is. This is supposed to be our Easter, like maybe our Easter special, but it's a kind of serious Easter special.
Yeah.
So,
Uh,
brilliant Easter from me and Rowan, and stay safe. Goodbye.
Goodbye.